Let's talk about Carlos Correa and some of my thoughts on him. He just because you put on an Astros uniform, I'm not really one to just have be won over that quickly. I need to see a little bit. It's just me, but I need to see a little bit of character and backbone and performance. So Carlos, of course, when I first got introduced to him was the middle of the 2015 season. He got on the Astros and was a big talent. And then I go to the 2015 playoffs against the Royals, Game 4 ALDS, and he hits this big home run. Massive power. It went into pretty much like over the Crawford boxes, but into under the train tracks. And then all of a sudden he makes this error and it cost us partially part of the game. It was more about our bullpen, but there was a huge momentum swing on a grounder that took this weird ricochet. And that ricochet was like, it was uncontrollable, but it went kind of off his shoulder, I believe, from where I was sitting. And I was disappointed, but I was more disappointed about his reaction about like, I didn't even think twice about it. Like when he was asked about it a couple days later or a week later. And he was dressed real snazzy when he said it, and it just came off as being odd. But then I realized one thing, we're all making kind of ethical, subconscious judgments on one another, and therefore I'm putting this slideshow kind of manually in for a reason. But anyway, so we're making these subconscious ethical judgments without knowing about people, and that's just the way that the world works. And so a couple years later, let's skip forward to the 2019 Game 2 ALCS against the Yankees. And a very, very odd bounce happens to Altuve, which I think ricochets off his shoulder or off his chest. And lo and behold, Carlos Correa, who's got, as you can see here, Jose, I've got your back. It's funny that I put this because it had a couple of meanings, but he's got Jose's back in more ways than one. And he literally picked up that ball right behind Jose and threw an absolute laser to the catcher and I can't remember who he got out, but I think it was DJ LeMahieu. I really can't remember, but I think it was LeMahieu. And and we ended up winning game 2 and ended up leaving Houston with a split. And of course we ended up winning the series, but if you looked at the series, things just really turned around with that throw. And I think that was the same game where Carlos Correa hit the walk-off. So Correa went from being this player I was skeptical about, I knew he was talented, to literally going up notches and notches in my mind on the Astros. And now let's go to even further. Cody Bellinger made some atrocious comments about the Astros cheating for 3 years, about them stealing a ring from the Dodgers, about Altuve stealing the MVP from Judge. And then once again, who shows up? Carlos Correa does an interview with Ken Rosenthal. And I don't know. And for him, out of everything, the very first thing to brought up was Bellinger's comments. So now you guys, if you haven't realized it yet, why I just can't stand a couple of these players. They make comments that are sensitive to me against my team, and especially against a player that plays with ethics. And literally, Carlos Correa spent 18 minutes with Ken Rosenthal explaining, he goes, hey, I don't mind if you speak against us and the scandal and all, but when you personally attack Jose Altuve, I got something to say about it. And so he just has this diatribe and just went off on basically Bellinger being uneducated, reading comprehension problems, so on and so forth. And that is now, at that moment, Carlos Correa has shown several things: that he does have Jose Altuve's back in the game. He has Jose Altuve's back, off the field, and that Carlos Correa literally loves being on the Astros. And that was my main concern, is he was going to take his talents elsewhere, and that he didn't kind of fall in love with Houston and what we stand for and stuff like that. So, you know, that being said, you know, really where I'm going with this is that Carlos Correa went from probably being my 10th favorite player on the Astros and from to literally being like probably my second or third favorite player. I almost might put him there above George Springer. But I will say he's neck and neck with George Springer. And so, you know, I don't really have much more to say in this, but I'll say this. I'll do a ranking later. But Carlos Correa is becoming a piece of the heart and soul. Altuve definitely is the heart and soul of the Astros. 100%. 100%. But when people want to deal with these complex issues on the internet and oversimplify it and forget the humanity of what everybody in Houston went through and attack Houstonians, you know, when they should be. I mean, this story is old news. This is what happened in 2017, and to bring it into 2018, into 2019, this story is way old news. We have actually, since that scandal, shown what the Astros are capable of with fair play. And with fair play, it got us to the seventh game of the World Series, but people can't accept it. So they want to bring it up to the present. They're like, oh, I want to see what 2020 is going to look like. You can just look at 2019. And that's how far we got. Game 7, 8 outs away. Nationals won. Congrats to them. I don't think they're going to do it again. Maybe, but I don't think so. But I hope so. You know, there's other teams I'd rather not see in the World Series. But the Nationals had a great year. Hats off to them. Everybody in DC, just troll the world for a year if you want. We'll see what happens, blah, blah, blah. Well, I believe in my team. And no matter what people say, when the games start, when you see Carlos Correa at shortstop, and you see Jose Altuve at second base, and you see Gurriel at first base, and you see Bregman at third base, and you see Springer in center field, Alvarez at DH, and Brantley at left field. You know, and then you see our starting rotation of Urquidy, McCullers, Greinke, and Verlander. That's a force to be reckoned with. Do I think we have the best team on paper? I really do. You know, I really do. It's a competition. May the best man win. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Carlos Correa, and that's my video, and take care.